Hello world, my name is Zachary Clifford, and I'm taking on the big issues. During the time of World War II, Nazi Germany did what we know as the Holocaust. A mass killing of people of Jewish descent, as well as people with physical handicaps and many others. Throughout the Holocaust, over 17 million people were mercilessly killed. I'm sure that we can all agree that what the Nazis did was terrible and completely wrong. If anything like this ever happened again, I'm sure that we would all be completely outraged and ready to stand up against it. But the sad reality is there's something going on every day that makes the Nazi Holocaust look mild in comparison. And to make matters worse, this is something that many of you probably support. Around the world there is a mass killing going on every day. This mass killing isn't against anyone who's done anything wrong, and it's not even against adults. What we're dealing with is mass infanticide. Infanticide is a word that means the murder of babies. You may find that hard to believe, but that's happening all around us, and it's something that people don't even think is wrong. This mass murder I'm talking about is abortion. Abortion is murder, and that is the truth. My purpose today is to inform you about the realities and the horrors of abortion and to persuade you to stand up against it by the way you vote and the organizations that you support. Abortion provides for the slaughter of over 60 million babies a year worldwide. Like I said, that makes the Nazi Holocaust look mild in comparison. A couple of weeks ago in my speech class, the topic of my final speech was over abortion and standing up against it. This video is a product of that speech. Before I gave the speech in my class, I gave everyone a survey, and one of the questions asked, do you consider yourself pro-life or pro-choice? As you can see by this pie chart, I got a variety of answers. Now those of you in the pro-choice category have your reasons for supporting abortion, and I understand that. But I hope that today I can persuade you to be pro-life. The most important question you can ask when regarding to abortion is, what does God say about abortion? The Bible does not directly address the topic of abortion, but if you do some reading and studying, you'll find the answer very clear. There are plenty of verses throughout the Bible that show just how important life is to our God. Job 31:15 says, "Did he not make me in the womb? Did he not form us in the wombs of our mothers?" Psalm 139:13 says, "For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full and well." That's a pretty clear indication of when life begins. You knit me together in my mother's womb. What else could that mean? Life is complex and it is created by God. God is the creator of every life. And we have no right to take that life away. You don't have to rely on just those couple of verses to see why abortion is wrong. You don't even have to be a Christian to believe that abortion is wrong. Many people who support abortion might tell you that it's really not that big of an issue, and it's something that you don't have to worry about. Let's take a look at some statistics that were reported in a message called "Abortion in the Campaign for Immorality" by John McArthur. This message is where I got a lot of the information I used for this speech from, and it may sound familiar to you. John McArthur is an excellent speaker, and he is who inspired me to do the speech that I did. So let's take a look at a couple of facts. First, like I said earlier, worldwide there are over 60 million babies killed by abortion a year. Of those 60 million, 1.5 million of those abortions are performed in the United States alone. That's over 4,000 babies killed a day. 170 an hour. One baby every 20 seconds. In fact, since the Roe v. Wade case in 1973, over 40 million abortions have been legally performed in the United States. 43% of women will have an abortion in their lifetime. So do you still think it's not a big deal? Because those numbers say otherwise. A lot of people will say that they support abortion because of rape cases. But the fact is, less than 1% of all abortions performed are for pregnancies that resulted from rape or incest. The biggest question when it comes to abortion is, when does life begin? Because if that baby is not technically alive, then it's not technically a murder. And that's a reason that a lot of people will give to justify abortions. So let's take a look at that. When does life really begin? Dr. Jerome Lejeune, a professor of fundamental genetics in Paris, gives these facts. All of the genetic information necessary to make a baby is there immediately when the sperm and egg join. But you know what? No, that's not a life. You can go ahead and abort it. After 2 weeks in the womb, the baby's body, including its internal organs, have completely formed. But no, that baby's not alive. You can go ahead and abort it. At 4 weeks, the baby is smaller than a peanut, but all of its organs are functional. There is an observable heartbeat, and the baby is completely conscious. But no, that baby's not alive. You can just go ahead and kill it if you want to. This is an ultrasound of a baby at 4 weeks. An informational website called Abortion Truth reports this as well. The heart first begins beating at day 18. Brain activity begins around day 40. How could you say that that baby is not alive if it has fully functioning organs and it is conscious? There's really no question to it. Dr. Lejeune is quoted saying this: "To accept the fact that after fertilization has taken place, a new human being has come into being is no longer a matter of taste or opinion." So yes, that baby is alive, and killing it would be murder. How about another excuse that people use? Well, not providing abortion is a violation of women's rights. Really? That one doesn't work either. Women's rights? What about the baby's rights? How many rights are you violating by killing that baby when it doesn't even have a say in what happens to it? I've heard it said that not providing abortions violates a woman's rights to do what she wants with her own body. But that is not just her body. There is a life in her womb. Some people say if you're pro-life, then you're wrong for trying to force your views on others. Well, you know what? Excuse me for forcing my views on others when I'm trying to save the lives of innocent children. Here are a few more reasons that you might want to change your mind about supporting abortion. Abortion isn't nearly as humane as people try to make you think. That baby's conscious and it has a fully functioning nervous system. It will feel everything you do to it. The methods used for abortions are both cruel and gruesome. I'm about to show some pictures of aborted babies, and I'm going to warn you, you might want to look away from the screen. The method used on younger babies is to insert a fluid into the womb that makes the baby slowly fall apart, and then a vacuum is used to take out the pieces. The method used on older babies is even worse, and thankfully most states have outlawed it. First, the doctor will insert a needle through the skull of the child that injects something into its brain. The brain becomes a soft mush, and the baby's head is smashed to give easier access to the rest of its body. The baby is removed from the womb piece by piece and then disposed of. And the fact is, abortion doesn't just affect the baby. Here are a couple of other statistics that were reported in John McArthur's message. Suicide rates among women who have had an abortion go up nearly 800%. Over 30 published medical studies have concluded that women who have had an abortion have an increased risk of breast cancer. I hope by now I've convinced you that abortion is a tragedy that must be stopped. But what can you do to stand up against it? Well, one thing you can do is be careful what organizations you support. Some non-profit organizations don't do what you think they do. There are many medical non-profits that give their money to fund abortions. The worst of these offenders is Planned Parenthood, which sadly is a government-funded program. In fact, Planned Parenthood provides an abortion every 95 seconds. The president of Planned Parenthood's Physician Network gave this quote in their most recent annual address: "Abortion is a treatment for unwanted pregnancy, the second sexually transmitted disease." How could you say that that baby is a sexually transmitted disease? That is a life. That is created by God. Another important thing you can do is support non-profit pro-life advocacy programs like Right to Life and Pregnancy Choices. But the most important thing you can do when it comes to standing up against abortion is be careful how you vote. When the elections come, make sure that your candidate supports your views on abortion. If they're not recommended by pro-life groups, then they probably shouldn't get your votes. And of course, the number one thing you can do to stand up against abortion is pray. There is power in prayer, and God has a heart for protecting the ones who can't protect themselves. I hope to one day live in a world where the mass murder of infants in the womb is no longer an issue. A world where the womb can truly be the safest place for a baby. This is what could happen if we stand up against abortion. By no longer funding abortion programs like Planned Parenthood, some states, including Indiana, have taken the first step towards ending abortion. In conclusion, I hope that I have shown you the horrible facts about abortion. I've shown you some information that is very disturbing, and I don't see how anyone can look at these things and still support abortion. That baby is alive, and that baby is created by God. Who are we to go and murder it? I hope that this was enough to convince you that you need to stand up to be pro-life. I refuse to support the senseless murder of babies in the womb. I stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. I hope that this was able to impact you, and I hope that together we can impact the world. I am pro-life. I stand up for what's right. I'm sure that you all agree that child abuse is wrong. So will you stand with me against the ultimate form of child abuse?